And away we go. It's the DFS Early Bird presented by Awesemo.com, brought to you in part by Yahoo DFS. Check out their offerings. Typically on Fridays, you see a management-free tournament. Of course, we also have our free 1 p.m. Eastern Time show over on YouTube covering that Yahoo MLB slate. Dan Strafford, Dave Lochran with you on this Monday morning. Chris Rendon traveling. Lofty stepping back in to the Monday morning slot. Lofty, how the hell are you doing?
Ready for football, man.
Well played. I know it's true, but also well played. Well played. I will not do it. Are you on the rest of the week, or are you taking Thursday into Friday morning off?
No, I'm taking I'll do the strategy show on Thursday. We got the rehearsal dinner Thursday night.
Okay.
So then I'll be off, Friday through Friday.
Friday through Friday. So I will not sing Going to the Chapel Tonight. I'll wait till the Wednesday morning show.
Oh, man.
To get you in the mood. But it's a big week.
That sucks. I was looking forward to that. Yeah.
Dave and Justine. It's going to be a good one. Everybody wish them well in the comment section. If you are married already, let's give him one piece of advice that you give to someone who's about to get married. If you're not yet married, give him a piece of advice as what he should expect from his single friends moving forward. So
we've been together and living together longer than most.
It's still fun.
Yeah,
still fun.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Everyone's always asking, "You nervous? You nervous?" Yeah. No, I'm nervous that I'm gonna have to dance. I don't like dancing. That sucks. No, that's the one thing that I'm not looking forward to, but I'll do it.
Sure,
because it's her day.
Right.
But all in all, no, I don't know. I keep, you must be anxious. You must have anxiety. She said the same thing. She's like, no, it's just, she even said the other day, like, I just want to get it over with. Not because she hasn't, like, she loves planning for it. And she's the one that wanted the big wedding. I would have done it in the backyard, but just the whole idea of like, it's a lot of planning and just a lot of shit, man. So,
yep. You already have the house. So you got that step.
What's that?
You got the house already. So you got
That's
that
what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, we lived together for 4.5 years. Like you can say we did it backwards, but I don't think it's the worst idea to know who you're marrying. Can you live
pretty
with
solid,
them?
right? Yeah. I think that's a way to go about it.
An unorthodox fashion in some sense, but at the same time, I know that I can live with her, and I'm not going to hate her once I move in,
Well,
She doesn't snore. I know that for a fact.
That you know of.
Well, no, I mean, no, she doesn't, because she goes to sleep before me every day.
Oh man, good times. All right, well, that's later in the week. We'll send you off properly here on the podcast later.
You don't need to.
On.
You really?
Come on. Of course I do.
You don't need to. I appreciate it, but
we have a 8-game slate to get through. DK with Greinke, Rodriguez, and Lucchesi all above 10K. We'll go through the pitching as we always do. Then we'll talk some top stacks. We'll say so long from there. Don't forget, you get the MLB strategy show in the morning. You get the deeper dive and the live before lock. That is all available for free over on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that alarm bell. Make sure you get our alerts. And then if you want to be behind the paywall, use the promo code EarlyBird. Gets you in for 50% off. That gets you access to Dave's article Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Adam's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then all the projections, both ownership and player projections, and then, of course, lineup builder and the add-on of Fantasy Cruncher. So we have the top end of Greinke against the Chicago White Sox, a team that we have targeted many times over for strikeouts and more so, I would say, ineptitude from an offensive standpoint on the season, Dave. There are some key pieces that just have not fired for the White Sox. They're at 25.6 K percentage or thereabouts on the season. WRC plus at 86. It seems like a prime spot for Greinke here in his second or third, I'm not quite sure, start with the Astros. Price tag okay for you here to think Greinke is pretty much a solid play in cash games?
So he's expensive, and the big thing when it comes to Greinke, like, what are you willing to pay for a guy that's not going to rack up a ton of strikeouts? That's really the biggest thing. But he is one of the better pitchers in baseball too. The White Sox will elevate those strikeout totals. At least they should. And while he's not an elite strikeout pitcher, it's not like he's horrible either. So I think you have to weigh the one against the other. Is it worthwhile to try and get those strikeouts, or to try and get the innings and limit the runs, and hopefully we get the amount of strikeouts we need? Or is it just not worth it? So we'll take a look at some other pitchers and see where he falls. But 23.3% K rate. It's, above league average, but not that much. The thing, though, is he has a sub 4% walk rate.
Yep.
His whip is below 1. His home run per 9 rate is below 1. So Greinke really, outside of kind of modest strikeouts, at least for the other peripheral, like everything else has been really, really good. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a good start here from Greinke. But do you want to risk the lack of Ks? By the way, he's had some tough matchups, and I guess the big thing is we'll check out what other pitchers are on this slate, because that's what it comes down to. If you don't have a lot of good pitching, then all right, Zach Greinke makes a lot more sense. But if you can get a guy, that's got a 28% K rate and he's 8,700, and in a better matchup or an equal matchup, then Greinke becomes less appealing for sure.
All right, then we have Eduardo Rodriguez against Eduardo Rodriguez, to say that correctly and slowly, at 10-3.
Eduardo Rodriguez against Eduardo Rodriguez.
Well, exactly right.
That is fascinating.
It is. This is the new age of baseball. They're just trying to speed everything up by just having one pitcher go out there, see if they can tire him out and get another center fielder in as early as possible to pitch. 10-3 for Erod, 10 flat for Joey Lucchesi against Tampa Bay in San Diego. Lucchesi's fine. He's a good major league pitcher. He's one of those names that has had some bigger upside. 8 Ks is sort of the ceiling on his year when it comes to strikeouts. I think has been the high end of the pool for him. 10K seems expensive. Eduardo Rodriguez, we've clearly seen, has upside for the Boston Red Sox. The Cleveland Indians have a ton of power bats, typically a little bit better they are from the left side. They have a ton of switch hitters who can hit from both sides but show more power from the left. On the year, the Indians against left-handed pitchers are actually way lower than I thought they were, 18.1% on the season against lefties. WRC plus at 93, ISO at 159, so not showing a ton of power but not striking out a lot. Where do you stand on these two other more expensive pitchers on the DK slate?
The Rays have not been especially good against lefties. Bottom 10 WOBA and ISO, 19th WRC plus. These aren't great numbers, and we've seen it all season long. For a while there, they had the highest K rate in the league against lefties. Now, let me move this camera a little bit. Just realized I was a little off there. There we go. Back on track. 24.1% K rate on their active roster. It's 5th highest in the league. They don't have a lot of speed on the base paths. According to Fangraphs, their speed rating is one of the lowest in the league. At least against lefties. It looks like against righties they have speed. I don't do the whole lefty-righty thing when it comes to stolen bases, so they're probably league average. I have to look at it a little more. But Lucchesi at that price just seems absurd. Like I don't understand how you pay that much for Joey Lucchesi. I really don't. Like, if you're going there, go with the flat out clear better pitcher in Zach Greinke. That would be the simplest explanation. Like, if you are going to pay up for a guy that isn't an elite strikeout pitcher, and somebody that isn't facing a terrible team, like the Rays, of course, against lefties, not great, but it's not a walk-over type spot where it's like, oh, it's the Rays. It's not the Marlins, the Tigers. So, I mean, I would just go to Greinke. They're really not interested much in Eduardo Rodriguez. I think you can do better than that. And as you pointed out, the Cleveland Indians, while there have been some struggles this season, while they've not produced a ton of power against lefties, as a matter of fact, not only have they not produced a lot of power, but they're down there with the Marlins. I mean, They're legitimately down there in ISO with the Marlins. 159. Marlins are 157. Marlins actually have a higher WRC plus against lefties than the Indians this year. It's crazy, right? But they're also striking out 18.1% of the time. It's such a low strikeout match, a bad strikeout matchup, 3rd lowest mark in the league. I just don't see that being an appealing spot for Rodriguez. Once again, I would probably just go to Greinke. And then the 9K range with Dylan Cease, Zach Plesac, and DeSclafani. I don't know about you, but the price tags on Plesac and DeSclafani are two of the most inexplicable salaries or pricings that I've seen on DraftKings all year long, especially given how they factor in matchup. And we know that DraftKings factors in matchup. So not only factoring matchup, both of these guys should be big dogs at home against Plesac against Boston, Cease against Houston. They're both above 9K. Dylan Cease doesn't have a single start of his 6 above 18 fantasy points. Plesac, meanwhile, is an okay pitcher with virtually no strikeout upside going against the Boston team that has a ton of power and very few strikeouts. I don't understand that. And for DeSclafani, he's definitely been better this year. He still struggles a lot against lefties. Even if I did like him here, I'm not paying upwards of, I'm not paying almost 10K for Anthony DeSclafani. It's not happening.
So a quick look around at some stats on odds. Washington minus 110, over under of a 10.5 here. So you have to, I guess, take in consideration that Eric Fetty's on the other side for the Washington Nationals, playing a little bit of a part. 92 degrees also in D.C. for first pitch there. Red Sox are coming in as minus 115 on the road, a 10 over under against the Indians and Zach Plesac. I'm with you, though. Those prices did seem exorbitant when I first checked in on it. DeSclafani's been a decent floor pitcher. He hasn't had major blowups where you're getting completely wrecked by him, but that should not really factor into the price point we're seeing here. Over on FanDuel, it's Greinke at 10.8, Erod at 8.9, Plesac 85, DeSclafani at 8K. So even over there, you have that tough price point on both DeSclafani and on Plesac on the more expensive side of the pool. Am I right in assuming that if he is starting, I want to make sure I know his is Brendan McKay starting, right? That is the correct.
Yeah.
This matchup, his K upside against San Diego in San Diego at 8,700 would seem to point me firmly away from any of the 9K guys towards McKay as somebody I'd much prefer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things. One, I'm not a big advocate of loading up on lefties against this Padres team. I do think they are, and it's not I think, they are a much more difficult matchup for left-handed pitchers than they are for righties. But I am pretty intrigued here. Nevertheless, with all of the power they do have from the right side of the plate, Franmil Reyes going to the Indians helps, a little bit, maybe mitigate that a tiny bit. But, McKay has a 26.4% strikeout rate in the 29 innings he's pitched at the major league level, 6 starts. And we've seen him all throughout the minors. He's had that upside as far as strikeouts go. Now he's a 27% strikeout guy going up against a Padres team that, yes, they do offer some power, but they also have a strikeout rate on their active roster that is top, I think, 5 or 6 in the league. 8th highest in the league. It's not outrageous. It's not nearly as high as it is against righties, but it's still a top 8 mark. McKay is still a pitcher that, he's good. He's gonna hit some speed bumps at the time over time, but he's also good. I'd like to see him limit the power a little bit, but look, that comes with time. As long as you're giving me the strikeouts, that's what I'm worried about. And in quality matchups like against Baltimore, he performed well. Against Texas, lefties really struggle against lefties. He performed well. The White Sox tuned them up a bit. Toronto and Boston, he gave up 3 runs, 2 home runs in each of those, but struck out 15 combined. You could definitely see like a 6-inning, 2-run, 9 strikeout performance from McKay here. And on this slate, it actually might be enough.
Anybody, I don't want to make this an extremely short podcast, but where else are you going? Is this wonderful 10.50 ERA, I know it's limited sample size, and a 2.25 whip of Mitch Keller enticing against an Angels team that doesn't strike out at all? You have Urado against Toronto, I guess, could have some upside because of strikeouts in that Toronto lineup. But where else are you seeing potential ownership for starting pitchers on this slate?
The Phillies are absolute trash.
Oh, are they losing? They're 6-6, wasn't it?
Unbelievable how bad this baseball team is. It's incredible. Wow. All right. Yeah, 9-6 to the Giants, man, at Oracle Park. 9 runs. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. All right. So we talked about everybody. The only other guy above 8K using DraftKings pricing is Mitch Keller against the Angels. Yeah, I will respectfully pass on that one. That's not happening. Why? What? He's first of all, I don't get why all these young rookies are priced where they are. If you priced them at a reasonable point, maybe we'd have some interest in playing them. But why would I play Dylan Cease against Houston at 9,100? Mitch Keller against the Angels at 8,400? None of that makes any sense to me, man. So I guess we can look at some of these. It is a Coors game or a Coors slate, so you have that. You've got Merrill Kelly going for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and for the Colorado Rockies, you got Peter Lambert. So we should expect to see a large amount of run production in this game, which, of course, adds to the idea that it would be really nice to maybe land a cheap pitcher or two and have something available that we can turn to. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's the case. I am pulling up the odds on this game right now. I want to see what it looks like. If you already have it up, please enlighten me. But I want to see the total and the implied totals for this Colorado game. Should give a good idea of what type of ownership we're going to see. But I would be surprised if it's under 12, honestly.
I don't. I will have it back up momentarily. I'm sure you have it.
So this game.
Yeah, you're right.
The 7.2 and 14 over under 14. That's well over 12.
Yes.
So where do you go? Do you go to Ariel Jurado against Toronto? I mean, that's not pretty. He has been better outside of Arlington, which makes sense, but he's not going to get you strikeouts, and he's actually not that cheap.
Right.
Jurado here, I'd want him at like 5K. Tom Eshelman against the Yankees. Yeah, another pass. Dude, it's really bad. It is really ugly, and I'm not sure if there's anyone worth targeting here. If Brock Stewart was a lefty, I might even say that Brock Stewart, who's expected to be the long guy in this game against the Rangers, would be viable. He probably only throws like 4. You know what? At this rate, like if you're going to go cheap, just go all the way down to the minimum salary. I hope that he gives you 4 or 5 innings. He can get the win without going 5 innings because he's expected to come out of the bullpen. Lambert, Eric Fetty, who has probably the lowest strikeout rate of any pitcher that's thrown 60 innings or more like he has. Just absolute terrible strikeout stuff, terrible swing and miss stuff. And then what were Jose Suarez? Like, really? We are devoid of quality options.
What's a shame bad. Is not a shame really, but the Toronto Blue Jays have Stewart most likely as the follower or whatever, the long reliever, the main pitcher, primary pitcher, whatever you want to call him. But it is also noted that Zach Godley could be the main beneficiary of innings on Monday. And Godley, we saw him flame out in Arizona, but has also shown enough upside with the strikeout. So I figured maybe he's 5K or so. He's 6,900. So it's not even like you're getting a heavily discounted Godley in a potential 3 or 4 inning outing. He's still 6,900 where you're trying to scrimp and save to get to Colorado bats. On FanDuel, doesn't look like Godley's even available. And I don't know that Brendan McKay is available either on FanDuel, which kind of blows my mind, but not really in the grand scheme of how FanDuel has handled younger pitchers in their time. But
is he listed as like a hitter?
I don't see him at all.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't see him at all. But I'll check again on. No, yeah, I don't see him at all for this slate. Make sure I'm on the right slate. Yeah, Tampa Bay is there. San Diego. Yep, this is the right slate. So there's that. All right, so obviously we need to figure out where we're going for pitching. If you're MMEing, your projections hopefully carry you to Colorado bats and get you enough of a floor from some of your starting pitchers at the cheaper price points to get you across the finish line. What offenses outside of Coors Field, which I think is an obvious take here, what offenses pique your interest a little bit as we do close out the podcast for what is a pretty terrible August slate of baseball games?
No question. I mean, think about this. These guys I talked about that are above 9K, The run totals against them: Houston against C 6.1.
Yep.
Washington against DeSclafani 5.3, and Boston against Plesac 5.2. 5.2 for the Angels against Mitch Keller. 5.3 for Cincinnati against Eric Fetty. It's pretty crazy, man.
I assume there's no one on the slate sub 4 runs, right?
Well, no, the White Sox are 3-6.
Oh, okay, against Cranky. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm assuming we don't have one in Tampa Bay or San Diego.
I think that'll be an 8.5 game, 8.5.
You think so?
I do.
I think Tampa Bay will have a run total probably around like 4.8, 4.5, no 4.6 or so.
Okay.
I think they'll get a little bit of respect there. Yeah. By the way, is it? Hold on. Let me make sure. Make sure the pitching here is accurate. Is it Castillo going for Tampa? Is that why?
I mean, even if it is, FanDuel should have McKay listed. Let's see. Tampa Bay over on ESPN is listed as Diego Castillo. Does MLB.com have the same?
I'm going to tell you right now. They have, yeah.
Okay.
So the problem is he's thrown like 19 pitches at the max.
And he's 2-6 on the year. Good for him. 5K. It looks like he would be an opener. I wonder if he's an opener to Brendan McKay as the long reliever.
That's what I'm wondering as well.
Here, I'll see if I can find something quickly on the Twitter machine.
Because if that's, I mean, that would make McKay a whole lot less appealing, because then you worry that essentially Kevin Cash is doing what he's done with Yarbrough when he was out of the bullpen as a long reliever, and Riani Chirinos and all of them. That would suck. And I think McKay is like one of the only few options that are, or one of the only few pitchers that are actually viable today. So I don't know. I guess just keep an eye out for it. We should know by the morning if we don't know by today. As far as stacks go, I mean, I love Arizona here. Love the lefties especially, but really all of them. Lambert struggles particularly against lefties, but he's just bad. And Merrill Kelly's shown. I think you kind of have to respect him a little bit this year. He's been good. He's been good enough, especially for someone that hadn't pitched in the major league system for like 4 years. But he has allowed 22 home runs, and we've seen him begin to break down a little bit lately, opposed to earlier in the year where he looked really good. The strikeouts are down, the base runners are up, the innings are down, the home runs are up. He's allowed 6 home runs over his last 3 starts. I mean, it's just a fantastic spot for both Colorado and Arizona. You're going to have to pay for them. That's a given. You know, these guys are going to be expensive, including like very expensive Ketel Marte, very expensive Story and Blackman and Escobar. These guys are pricey, but you're going to want to try and get them into your lineups. I just don't know how. I'm not sure yet. I haven't made lineups, but it's tough to figure out the best way to do it. Washington lefties against DeSclafani are pretty solid. And with Dylan Cease and Plesac, it's like, yeah, Boston and Houston are in really good spots. If it's possible that they're very low owned, then I think that could be the case because of Coors and because Houston bats are routinely expensive. That could make them one of the most, maybe the best leverage stack of the entire slate.
All right, there you have it. This will be another deep dive from Dave behind the paywall. So you'll want to sign up using the promo code EARLYBIRD. Gets you 50% off your first month. He'll dive in on all of these stats and try to figure out one of these low-end guys, at least to target in some way, shape, or form to get to these Coors bats. And we'll get, as he said, that late information on who and when another pitcher for Tampa Bay will be in that game against San Diego, whether or not it opens up some options in any sort of price range. Find Dave on Twitter at Lofty_D. That's LOUGHY_D for those of you who don't know. At Dan Stratford for myself, it's at Osmo_com, also at Osmo MLB. We also have NFL and NBA out there if you want to follow those Twitter handles for up-to-the-minute news. There's also Osmo Weather if you want to follow for weather when it comes to Major League Baseball games. All that is out there. Don't forget, on this video over on YouTube, leave a comment. Give Dave, if you're married, piece of advice that you give to someone about to get married. If you are single,
don't worry about it.
No, leave it. Come on. Have some fun. Have some fun.
Nothing about that is enjoyable, even remotely. I won't read them.
I will. This is all for me,
will.
man. This is all for me. If you haven't realized how selfish I am 6 years into this relationship, we gotta figure some things out.
Yeah, fair enough. Sounds like you've learned a lot from marriage. Yeah.
All right.
I like that, huh?
I did not like that, but nonetheless, we will check those out. You get Emac and Adam tomorrow. Emac is traveling, so we may get some substitutions in there as well on the podcast as we move forward. But Dave and I are back with you on Wednesday morning on none other than the DFS Early Bird presented by Awesemo.com.